All right, it's on. That means we are live. And
Perfect.
very good welcome to everyone. Hi, Kyle. How are you?
I am not too bad. It is a rather lovely day in Scotland, as always.
How is the weather there? Because here it has been amazing. My allergies are killing me, but otherwise it's amazing.
Yeah, well, I can't see out the window for the fog, so if that answers your question.
Yeah, so today we're going to have a very special and very interesting webinar, and it's going to be about Just Cool, but you have already know it. And just before we head into it, the session is going to be recorded. That means if you have any questions, your name will show up in the recordings afterwards. But otherwise, we are going to upload it to YouTube. So if you would miss out at any point, you have to go or you have to come back. There is no issue. The full session will be uploaded to YouTube. And I would like to say that whoever showed up today, even the latecomers, will receive a small gift from Just Cool, which is amazing. So I will let you know more about this at the end of the webinar, but you will receive an email after the webinar where you can claim some gift from Just Cool. So how about, Kyle, if I hand everything to you and you can set up the presentation and we are ready to go?
Yeah, absolutely. Just while we're getting started, I am going to get everything open up on PowerPoint. We've got some stuff to run through. If you guys feel comfortable enough to put in a message, let us know where it is that you're joining from. That would be fantastic. If we've got anybody who already uses Just Cool as a brand or uses any specific products, if you want to let me know, Oliver's going to keep me caught up while we go through. I won't be able to see you guys, but he will pass on any questions. There is a Q&A section, but if you want to ask any questions as we go, please let me know. As we mentioned already, I am currently in sunny Scotland, so it would be great to know where everybody else is. Let's just get started here. Okay, I hope you can all see. I'm sure if not, Oliver will let me know just now. We just while we're waiting on any stragglers that we have before we get started, we are going to run through a couple of different pieces. I'll just show you some of the content that we have today. We're going to talk about AWDis as a whole, the entire brand, and a little bit of the background on what got us started, what we are all about, and then we'll move a bit more in depth to Just Cool specifically as a brand, and what some of the popular products are, what we have for this year, and where we have made some slight changes to some of our products to try and make them more accessible and better options for everyone. Towards the end, we'll talk a little bit about what sort of things we offer as well to make your lives easier, hopefully. And then we'll do a bit of a Q&A. But like I said, if you have questions in between, don't let them go out of your mind. Feel free to just ask them, and we'll take maybe even a little break in between so that you've got an opportunity to ask and get your answers. But let's get started with AWDis as a brand. So AWDis has been around since 2008. We launched with only one product. It was the JH001 hoodie from the Just Hoods range, which some of you might be familiar with. Back then, we had 30 colours, which is quite a lot to launch with. But in comparison to now, we have 90 colours. And the Just Hoods range has expanded exponentially, and there are now many more sub-brands that are alongside, and it really shows the popularity of what we have been producing. Everything that we make is designed for printers, for embroiderers, to be easy to rebrand, to be a blank canvas for people to really express themselves, to get your own designs on there, to give other people an opportunity to get exactly what they feel represents their brand. It's everything's really built for you guys. So we will get on to a bit of a timeline here. So we have a lot of different sub-brands, Just Cool being one of them. So I'll give you a little bit of background on the brands themselves just now. We'll talk about who we see as being the main audience for them, and then we'll get into Just Cool in a bit more depth. So Just Hoods, as I just mentioned, was our first ever brand that encompasses very much as it sounds, hoodies, sweatshirts, zoodies. We have a lot of different colour options. We've got different styles. There are different fits and fabrics, some heavyweight, some lighter weight. We've got female fit and junior fit. There's lots and lots of different options in there, which is fantastic. Next up was Just Cool, which is what we're going to be discussing today. So I'll keep it brief. It is primarily an athleisure brand for sportswear, for teams, for outdoor activity, all that sort of stuff. But like I say, we'll get into that in a bit more depth later. We also have So Denim. Now, So Denim has what you would really expect from a denim range. You've got jeans and jackets, but you've also got shirts and chinos to give you somewhere for your sort of hospitality market. Then we have AWDis Academy, which is your schoolwear range, which is focused heavily on exactly what you would expect from a schoolwear range. You've got cardigans and polo tops, sweatshirts, and some of the materials, the fabrics that we use in that come from popular fabrics in some of our other ranges, because we want to make it as easy to transfer across. You know, if you're familiar with the JH30 or the JH1 and the college fabric, then going into Academy and using the sweatshirts from there should be nice and easy, because you know what to expect when you're decorating. We also have Just Tees, which is a t-shirt range, but it's got like vests and stuff like that. We've got different fits and fabrics for that as well. Some of the more fashionable styles, I would say, are in the Just Tees range. You've got your sort of oversized style just now is very popular, and we've got a good range of different weights, from a nice lightweight 140 GSM 100% cotton t-shirt right up to the 190 GSM JT 009. You've also got Just Polos, which has polo tops as it sounds. There are some different styles and some different features that are focused on to give people a bit of range and some options if they want to go for something nice and relaxed, or something that looks really professional. And then finally, we have Ecology, which is a brand made with sustainability in mind. It's got a little bit of everything else that we have, all the different styles. But if you're looking for your organic cottons and your recycled polyesters, this is the brand primarily where you'll find that. We'll get into later that there are some other options between some of the other brands for that sort of thing, but Ecology is the primary place to find that. So on to the market for these different brands. Some of them very self-explanatory, but just to give you a quick overview, Hoods, the JH001 has been the most popular school leavers hoodie for as long as I've been here. It is an absolute market leader, and you'll find as we go on, some of the colours that you'll find in JH001 you'll also find in Just Cool. So you have the opportunity to pair people up if you've got big events and you want to get everybody in the same colour. That's where that opportunity lies. Then Just Cool, as I said, we will get into in a bit more depth later, but again, is your sports teams. It's used sometimes in workwear, just because there's a couple of polo top options or some stuff that's maybe a bit more professional looking but still nice and lightweight. I'm actually wearing one of our Just Cool tops today, and in sunny Scotland, it's very important that I keep nice and warm. We've also got denim here, where we find that it's more focused into hospitality, and then crosses over slightly into your rebrand market, because it gives you an opportunity for a full outfit and a proper kit out. You've got AWDis Academy, which is one of the self-explanatory brands. It's built for the schoolwear market. That's the primary customer. For Just Tees, like I said, it's got a lot of fashionable styles. So your rebrand market, this is quite a popular brand for that. Everything in Just Tees has got the size pick rather than the label, so nice and easy for rebranding. Just Polos, your hospitality uniform is quite focused in the Just Polos range, just because, like I said, you can go from nice, light, casual JP001 to the JP003 with some nice tipped collars and that sort of stuff for a bit more professional look. And then in Ecology, it's quite interesting because it is such a varied brand and it's got so many different styles. It gets picked up in a lot of different places, but really, because it is the more sustainable option of what we have, it gets picked up a lot of the time, so that people can show that they are doing their part, even if it is just with their uniform.
And Kai, can I ask you,
of course,
what is going to be the next one then? Because I have seen a trend that every 4th or 5th year there's something new. So that was Ecology, the last one. Is there going to be something very surprising for us, maybe this year, next year?
Oh, who knows? Who knows? Unfortunately, that would be down to our product team. I am going to probably praise them quite a lot during this, but the guys in the product team work extremely hard to make sure that we know exactly where it is that we're going with each of our brands, with our new styles, our new colours. And when we get into trends, I'll talk a bit more about some of the research that they do to make sure that we keep everything light and fresh, and that we are in line with the trends of the retail market. So I unfortunately don't have anything new to spill at the moment, but hopefully in the near future there will be.
Yes, Amelia had one question, which I think you will touch in the next slides, but just to keep you just readdress it. Will you expand the oversized range? The demand is quite big. You can sort of say it now or touch it on afterwards. It depends on you.
No, I would rather. I'll answer just now. I will touch on it again later. But the oversized range, like you said, is in quite high demand, and generally, in fact, 90% of the time, anything new that we introduce is based off of what is in demand, what is popular. We need somebody to want to stock these items, so we need to show that they're based off what we feel is popular, what the product team they are seeing in retail trends. And as I'm sure everybody will have noticed, the oversized and heavyweight styles have absolutely gone through the roof in the last few years. So if popularity continues, absolutely. This year, I know we added an additional 6 colours to one oversized style, just purely because of its popularity over the last few years. So it's something that I would absolutely look for going forward. Is there any other questions, or shall we get into Just Cool?
Let's get into Just Cool. There will be some more questions.
Perfect. I'll give you an opportunity to ask them in a little minute. Okay, so Just Cool this year has been around for 13 years, which is, in this market, is actually quite a long time. I think this is still a very growing market, and we're seeing a lot of new things pop up here and there. But really, Just Cool owes its popularity to the range of different styles, its colours, and the way that it can match up across the other brands, and the fact that there's generally always something new to offer every year. And if you've got sportswear brands, they don't tend to really stick to one exact product. And if we come out with the open back tee, say, the dance groups suddenly have a new style of t-shirt to offer their customers. So I think Just Cool really owes a lot of its popularity to the product team, who look to find what they think is going to be really, really popular in the coming years. Some unique selling points, which I've just sort of touched on. I would say one thing that I sort of mentioned earlier when I was talking about the Academy range is that when we look at new products, sometimes we will use a fabric that already exists. Not only because we know that it's reliable and it's a fabric that's popular, but also for the printers and embroiderers. If you get used to printing on one of these Just Cool tops, it's good to know that there's a polo in the exact same material. So if you get somebody that approaches you for a polo top you've never worked with before, you can have a little bit of peace of mind that if they go for it, you can get it in and print it up, and you know what results to expect, you know what the colour is going to be like, you know how it's going to wash. So that's quite a big selling point of Just Cool. And then obviously, like I said earlier, we've got the new styles and the product team constantly introducing new, popular, innovative garments. We have here some of the markets that we find Just Cool really hits. Your running groups have so many different options in the Just Cool range. For teamwear, obviously, the keeping everybody in the same colours is really important. And the picture actually that's on here, we've got somebody in just polos, and then we've got two different JC styles, but in the same colour. It's good to have that uniformity across the different brands. And then you've got your sports groups, who are always going to appreciate some nice lightweight fabrics. So that's really the main market, but you will always find that there are small niches will crop up. I know that in Scotland, a lot of our customers use the Just Cool polos for their own uniform. Heat presses, as I'm sure you all know, can make a room very, very warm. So to have something nice and lightweight is always a good option. So JC was launched on the JC 001, much like the Just Hood range and the JH 001. The JC 001 is the flagship garment of this brand. Like I said earlier, it's what I'm wearing today. And its range of colour probably has a lot to do with its success. It's a great fabric, it's nice and lightweight, its high polyester content means that it washes and washes and washes, which for sports teams is very important. We wore these for a run that we done just a couple of weeks ago, and it was very much needing a really good wash afterwards. So it's good to have that bit of confidence that you can continue to wear it going forward. They also have UPF content, which essentially is somewhat like SPF for sun creams. It blocks some of the UV for outdoor workers, for sports. That's quite important. And like I said, any of the garments that you get that are in the same material, you could expect the exact same from. So some of the other best sellers, as we mentioned, the JC1 earlier, we also have it in junior fit, which is the JC 001J, and in female fit, which is the JC 005. You'll see they've both got quite good colour ranges, considering they're not the main unisex style. And then in the same fabrics, the JC007 that's shown here is a vest, and the JC40 is one of the polo tops that I was talking about earlier. It is again that same 100% polyester 140 GSM fabric. So some of the new styles that we have for 2024. Like I say, the product team, they spend so much time making sure that the stuff that they introduce is a lot of what we are being asked for. With my role here, speaking to customers a lot of the time, I get a little bit of an insight into what is being demanded to them from their customers. So we all pass on that feedback regularly, and then the product team, they'll look into what they can develop from there. So starting off with the JCE 281s, you have some new track pants. You'll see that they do have a portion of recycled polyester content. It's just something that we have been looking into a lot recently, is to have that sort of slot into the brands where it can. You'll notice that's sort of a theme across some of these new styles today. These track pants are really nice and lightweight, great for outdoor exercise. So far, speaking to a few different printers local to here, they've been used as your sort of warm-up tracksuit for, sitting on the bench before you come on in a game of football, or for running groups. This is not always the place to be wearing shorts, so it is good to have that slightly longer but still lightweight option. The JC232, I would say, is a great upsell piece. It is a base layer, so you would expect to be layering it up. Obviously, here in the imagery, the model is only wearing it, but that's just so that you can see what the product's like. We see this to be used underneath maybe one of these JC tops to keep people warm when they're out and exercising, or to give a printer and embroiderer an extra opportunity for something else to sort of style up the look of their sports teams. Again, you've got a really good recycled polyester content at 91%. It's majority recycled material, and then that elastane gives it a nice stretch and a lovely hand feel for the wearer. We had a base layer previously that was discontinued. It wasn't doing quite as well as we thought it might do, but when we looked into it further, it was to do with where were the seams? Was it practical for the wearer? Was it tight enough to be worn as a base layer? So all of these feedback points that we got were put into this 232 to make sure that this one really hits the market and gets all those little points that people maybe felt could be doing with improvement were implemented. So you'll see very slightly, it's a white garment, but the seams here run across the shoulder rather than under the arm, so that the wearer is a bit more comfortable while wearing them. We also have the JC288s, which the model wearing black has got on. These are the recycled cycling shorts. So they are a really good option if you have had anybody wear our leggings, which the other model has on. They're made with the same fabric. They have a lot of the same features. They have two giant pockets either side, but because they have that elastane content, they're nice and tight. So some people wore them for a run the other week, and you can put your phone in them with a bit of confidence that while you're exercising, it's not going to fall out or anything like that. And finally, probably the product that has had the most love and also the most questions so far this year, the JC92s, which are our new sliders. These are so far a bit more popular than we expected them to be. In all honesty, they have been absolutely flying out. They are quite versatile and get used a lot in sportswear, but have been used for stuff like bridal showers or baby showers, that sort of thing, as gifts. And I know that there's a couple of local hotels and stuff use them just to give their customers something nice and comfortable to wear while they are enjoying their stay. They are very good for rebranding. The cover at the top is made with 100% polyester, and it's great with DTF, but vinyl works really well as well. We wouldn't really suggest embroidering on them, just purely to keep them nice and comfortable for the wearer. We don't want that backing rubbing on their foot. But it is an option. If you had somebody that really wanted it, you could do it. So we've also found that printing on them was a big request, and we'll get on to some of hopefully the help that we offer when it comes to printing on a new style or a new fabric. But we've found it to be as easy as sliding each of them inside each other and using them as their own backing for putting them on the edge of a heat press and pressing DTF or vinyl onto them. So those are a very, very popular style, and later when we got onto trends, that's probably going to be mentioned. So I spoke about some of the new styles that we had, but also how we had slightly altered some of our garments to make them a bit more inclusive and a bit wider used in the market. So we have 4 styles here that we've picked specifically. The JC005 was previously only available up to 2XL, is now available up to 4XL. It's not in every colour at the moment, but again, it's based on popularity. This is something new that we've done for this year, so we'll really see how this goes this year, and then maybe there's the potential for more colours or more options. The idea behind this is not that we expect that you have a lot of people looking for the 4XL JC005s, but if you have a big group come to you and they want to get French Navy, JC001s and JC005s, we don't want to have 10% of that group have to go elsewhere to get their tops. We want everybody to be able to get the same style, so this is why we have these extra sizes to give that opportunity. The same with the JC15 here, the vest. These are the female fit garments, so to have them in the bigger sizes is great, that people can still get a nice fitted size even in the bigger options. For the JC80, we've actually done the opposite, I suppose, and we've introduced an extra small. Previously, we only had these to small, but we felt that the bridge between the JC80Js, which are the kids version, to the smallest size in the adults version was too big. So the extra small just fills that gap, and it makes sure that everybody can get in the JC80s. For the JC217 and the 287s, we've done the same. Those were previously only available in 2XL, now available up to 4XL in black. With these, actually, you can see the work that has gone in by the product team to make sure that they aren't just bigger sizes and they're still made for the wearer. So, for example, the crop top that you can see the model wearing there, and the 4XL has bigger straps for more support, and the front cover, because these are they're dual layered to make them a bit easier to decorate and to give a nice clean look for the wearer. It stretches a little bit further so that they're a bit more comfortable for the wearer as well. So on to some of our recycled range. Now, I mentioned that in ecology, there are some recycled options, using recycled polyester or using organic cotton. And if you wanted to really look for those styles, you can with confidence pick anything in the ecology range. But in the Just Cool range, there are a few options as well. So some that we've already mentioned, and I'll quickly cover those, but some that haven't been spoken about today. Obviously, I have mentioned countless times that I am wearing a JC 001 today. We have a version of this top made with recycled polyester instead. So it's actually made with 9 recycled 550ml plastic bottles, which I found to be quite interesting. For any of you who are very big on your sustainability, I am sure you will be interested to know they are made with post-consumer waste. For those of you maybe not as up to date on that, you have post-consumer and pre-consumer waste. Pre-consumer waste, in my own personal opinion, is not really recycled. Essentially, if a drinks company were to come out with a new flavour and a new style of bottle, and they produce 1 million bottles, and then it's not as popular, they only sell 500,000 units, the other 500,000 can be recycled because they've never been used, and that is your pre-consumer waste. Whereas for post-consumer waste, which is what we use, these are the ones that have the other 500,000 that went out to the stores that somebody used and then kindly recycled. Those are then turned into material and produce these lovely tops. We also have that available in the junior fit, and you can also get it in the female fit. The 005 becomes the 205. Some other or one other style that we haven't yet mentioned is the JC23. Now this is primarily, I think this was produced to be a running garment. You'll see as the models have got it styled, it looks that way. You've got thumb holes in the sleeves so that your sleeves don't ride up while you're exercising. Some good colours, and they also feature a hidden zip pocket at the back. So if you're carrying, a key for the house or something like that, you have somewhere to put it while you're running. This is one of those moments where we produce this primarily, again, for your running market. However, I know that a lot of equestrian groups local to us use these because of the thumb holes. So on the left, the model there is wearing the electric yellow colour, and they use it as a sort of sub for a high vis. For the equestrian groups, you have to layer up. You wear your protection, and you're also wearing your own clothes, and then maybe a high vis as well. So this was a good addition to give them something that they can just wear, and then they only have to worry about putting their protection on, and they've got the thumb holes so their sleeves don't ride up. Some of the other styles, obviously we've already covered the 217, the 232, a lot of the new styles for this year involving that recycled polyester option. So what we have seen as sort of upward trends for 2024. Now, I will not take responsibility for this. Again, I'm going to say that the product team, they spend a huge amount of time looking into the market and seeing what they believe is going to be popular, which is quite a hard thing to do. You tend to find that the printwear market runs a year, maybe 2 years behind the retail market. However, we have a lot of garments that are really popular in the rebrand sphere. So it's quite important that we are on the nose of that as well. So the product team, they take a lot of market research, they take our feedback, they go to some of the fashion capitals of the world, and they have a look at some of the different retail spaces, what's being introduced, some of the new Pantones, and they collaborate with each other to create these really, really good pieces of market research, essentially. And then that's where they'll look at what's going to be popular for next year, or what they suspect is on its upward trend. The Just Cool sliders are an absolute testament to this. you'll probably find that when looking for printwear sliders, there are little to no options until these were introduced. It's completely outside of the market was so far. So to have something this new be this popular is like I say, it's an absolute testament to the work that the product team do, and these are probably the sort of styles that we'll be looking at going into next year to develop on, to look at, is there a potential for a new color? Should there be more sizing? That's sort of where we go with a lot of the trends, is we look at what's popular now and how can we make it more accessible to our customers. Do they need more colors? Do they need better sizes? Do they need a new style that has a slightly different feature that sets it apart from maybe some of the competitor garments, or even from the retail garments, to give people an option to something new?
Mind if I stop you here for
Absolutely.
a question? So we got, I think, 2 questions in regards of the slippers. One of them is, what is the suggested printing for the JC092?
Okay, well, so this has actually come along at a really good time. You'll see the next sort of area that we're going to get onto is how we can help with that. There's some print guides. But essentially, your number one method would be DTF. We would recommend that DTF takes really well with the sliders, and actually, on top of that, it complements them really well. Because it's flat on the garment, it looks really nice. It looks like this is how they were produced. DTF would be your number one recommendation. However, if you do already work with vinyl looks great on these. We had at a trade show this year, we took along some sliders and we put some block vinyl on them. It was just a very simple logo, but to put it on the sliders made them look very, very unique. It is quite a versatile garment to tweak and try different things on. But DTF number one, and then right behind would be your vinyl. But I will cover in a minute sort of where you can find information on how we score each garment and what that entails.
And the other question is about the colors and the sizes about it. So could you a little bit touch on it?
Of course. I'm going to bring the slide back up just because it will be helpful to get an overview while we have a look at it, if it lets me go back. But essentially, at the moment, they are available in 2 different colours, which is just black and white. With any new garment that we bring to market, to introduce it in too many new colours could hinder its success. So sometimes we will just have a couple of different options to give people the opportunity to try them, to make sure that they like it. And then if it's popular, which it has been very, very popular, then we start looking into developing where we can go from there to make it, that little bit better. For the size range, you'll see here, we've actually gone with the European sizing. And that's not just something that we have for today. This is how we market these garments. The reason for that is the European sizing is just, it's more consistent, it's more uniform. When you look at UK sizing, it can be quite complicated, and you'll find a lot of brands list whether things are, true to size or not, which I think's quite a complicated thing. If you're going to make something a size, it just should be that size. These are made with the European sizing so that we can be really consistent in what we have. And then in the UK sizing, this lines up somewhere around the 2 to 3 to 10 to 11, somewhere around there. So if we were to look at new colours or new sizing, it would be, maybe a good option to have a bit further into sort of kids sizings, or for new colours, potentially something that matches up alongside some of the other products that we have that sell quite well.
Good. And I think you will be answering this too, but correct me if I'm wrong. So the temperatures of DTF printing for the GC092, and the other question is, can you decorate it with laser? I think you will touch on it in the next slide.
I will. I won't pretend to be a print expert. Luckily, I have the product team who do a lot of the research for me. But the sliders, I would really probably recommend more so that you look at your decoration methods recommendations. The sliders are quite versatile. If you are going to slide them inside each other, they do have a sticker on the back. So long as you remove that, you can really try a lot of different things. I've seen people decorate them inside hat presses and that sort of stuff, but they'd be looking at somewhere around the 145 range. You might find that the DTF that you use or the vinyl that you use requires a little bit more or a little bit less, but as I'll get on to, we do a lot of testing with all these different fabrics. And something that we don't really hear a lot of in the Just Cool range is scorching, which for a range that is primarily polyester garments, it's probably quite surprising for a lot of people. But they're so well thought out, and the team spend a lot of time to make sure that they're as versatile as possible. We do actually have on our AWDis Brands Instagram page a video of one of our team who is not a professional printer or anything, taking the sliders and printing them himself, just to show that somebody who has just picked this up from their own research and talking to printers, that even they could print it. So that might be one to watch. Onto the print guides themselves. Luckily enough, we will start out with the Just Cool sliders. So to give you an idea, the print guides themselves are not guides in the sense that we say you need to do this and do this and do this, and you'll get perfect results every time. It's more, we send the sliders out to many different printers, embroiderers, and everybody gives them a try to see how well they decorate. And then we use that for a scoring system. So these have actually been revamped in the last few years, and they're looking a bit better. So you'll see for DTF, we have scored 5 sliders out of 5, which means that essentially, if you're going to use DTF, these will be fantastic. Underneath, you've got a little bit of a comment, just with any hints or tips that we feel would be relevant to mention, something that maybe to give you a little bit extra context so that you make sure that when you're decorating them yourself, you feel nice and confident that you're going to get good results. So you'll see for Plastisol at the moment, we're still waiting on some testing to be complete. The guys from the product team, they make sure that anything that they put out is very robust. So it can't just go out to one tester, they try it and then say, yeah, that worked, and give us it back. It has to be tested over and over again to make sure that the results are consistent and that we're happy before we say these Plastisol inks work really well for screen printing on the sliders. We need to be absolutely sure. And then you'll see in other cases like the DTG, these are unsuitable. We're not going to pretend that you can do something that you can't. We would rather just say, don't expect them to work with DTG, don't use DTG for the sliders, and if you want to use DTF, heat transfer vinyl, even if you want to sublimate on them, those all work well. Again, bearing in mind, these are for how well they decorate and not necessarily whether you would decorate on them using this method or not, which is why you see embroidery here has 5 sliders out of 5, but you may choose not to embroider on them just for the same reason as I mentioned earlier, you don't want it to rub and become uncomfortable for the wearer. If you wanted to embroider on them yourself, wear them, and you were happy, then please do go ahead. They do embroider well. It just might not be the option that you go for. We have some other ones here. So the active base layer was another new one for this year. You can see here we've sort of scored it for a number of different decoration methods, and you'll see something like DTF here only has 3 base layers out of 5. And the reason for that is not how well the garment itself is decorated. It's actually, in this case, we're talking about if you decorate it in this method, it might affect the garment. So to use a big print on a garment that's made primarily with polyester, but with that elastane content, is going to ruin your stretch. You don't want to have that happen for a garment that is built to be stretched and fitted to the wearer. So we've scored it slightly lower on DTF for that. But something like sublimation, we've given 5 out of 5 because it works well, the garment looks nice, and it still gives you that comfort that the base layer offers. We also have here the active track pants, another new style for this year, and as you can see, they are very versatile. We've had them tested quite extensively, and we believe that they print very, very well. They lose 1 point on embroidery, and the only reason for that is if you're using big patches, you don't want them to pull or for it not to be as comfortable. We also have the fabric that I'm wearing here, which is our Neoteric. You can actually see just under where it says 100% polyester, we've got a list of all the different styles that you can get in this fabric. So when I mentioned earlier that these are, once we have a fabric that's very popular and people feel comfortable using, we will use that material again in future so that people will have the transferable skills to move on to. You've got some t-shirts there, vests, polo tops, even the shorts are made with the same polyester material. Here we've given DTG 1 t-shirt out of 5. Previously this was 0, but there is some new DTG machines that do work with this polyester. It's something that's quite niche at the moment, might improve in future, and if it does, our print guides will be updated in line with that. Each of our brands has its own website, which has its own resources page, which have their own print guides. So if you want to have a look at any of the print guides, I believe everybody is going to get a copy of this presentation. You'll see here the link for the print guides is included. There are also some other quite helpful resources, which I'm going to talk about in a minute on there as well. So, big question, why choose AWDis? So, a lot of the things that I've discussed already today, just sort of a recap really. The colour options are great. However, I would say more so than the colour options, the fact that those colour options exist in other brands is another reason that the AWDis or the Just Cool brand stands out so much. It is absolutely one of the market leaders for sportswear. So to be able to get your sportswear tees from a market leader in sportswear, and then your hoodies from a market leader in hoodies, and have them match for colours is fantastic. You would expect mild variation just because the more cotton garments are going to give a more soft colour, whereas the polyester are going to give a slightly more shiny colour. I'm sure that's not how the product team would describe it, but that is the basics of the only real variation that you would ever see if you pick up digital lavender, which has been quite a trendy colour over the last couple of years. In the JC001, it's the one that our model with the cap is wearing here in the image. You can also get that in a hoodie, and they look really good paired up. The product range, as I mentioned at the start, having so many different styles and so many different options for your customers means that you can consistently offer them something new, something fresh, something with features. We spoke about how the running top has a zip pocket. Those also feature in the leggings. The crop top is dual layered for the wearer, but also for the decorator. All these little features that the product team spend a lot of time to find are absolutely fantastic for that. The price versus quality, I'm sure you guys will already know. If you look at retail garments for the same styles or the same fits and options, you could be very easily at 4, 5, up to 10 times the cost for the same quality. So to have the option for everybody to be able to pick these up and offer them to maybe their sports teams that currently only wear named brands, it can make a huge difference. And it does also give you a good opportunity to make a really good markup on the garments themselves, because it's almost the expectation of the market that they'll pay quite a lot for some quality sportswear garments. And finally, consistency. Our garment techs, for every bulk production that is done, will weigh the fabrics, will compare the colours to the master to make sure that consistently all the digital lavender looks the same. All the orange flame looks the same, all the fire red, we have real good consistency between the garments for that. So some other pieces that can be found on the resources page that I mentioned earlier. You can view the digital AWDis brochure, and when you open it up, there's a separate section for sharing it, where if you want to share it with your customers, but maybe don't want to send them towards our website, you can do so, and you can send the brochure in a way that they can view the brochure itself and have a look at the products and let you know what codes they're interested in, but not necessarily be on our website if that's something that you're quite keen on. The swatch card, I would say it's probably better if you want to get a real representation for what the colours look like, that you get a physical swatch card. However, there are some colour breakdowns on one of the pages of the swatch card that show you very quickly, if you pick, say, fire red, here are some of the styles that you'll find fire red in. So if you have a new customer, they've never used Just Cool, if you've never used Just Cool, and a sports team or something approaches you, they want to pick navy, you might want to have a look at the different navy colours that we have. There's an Oxford navy and there's a new French navy. Which one's going to be best for these people? Well, I would suggest it's the one that gives you the most options in future, which would be the new French navy. Because it's a core colour, you can get it in a load of different styles, and it gives you a bit more of a chance at saying, if you want to come and get your hoodies, if you want to come and get your sports tees, why not get a hoodie, or why not get matching track pants, or that sort of thing. And finally, we have some marketing assets. The marketing team, they spend a lot of time looking at what's popular and picking the right times of the year to talk about certain garments. For example, just last month, we were looking at, when is running season, when is the best time to be talking about these JC tops. Do we want to focus on the brighter colours, because that tends to be what people wear when they go running? Is it the hyper pink? And they pre-make social media content that goes on our social media, and at the same time it goes into a folder for you to download and put straight onto yours. They won't require any editing or anything like that. Sometimes it's just imagery, but sometimes it'll feature little bits and pieces, some information about the garments themselves, or it might be focused on a campaign that we're running, and you have the opportunity to run it alongside us and get all of the assets with hopefully a lot less of the work. So we will wrap up on any other questions that might be in the chat.
Yes, there is indeed. So I will turn. We have a Q&A mode. I will turn it on. That means
Ooh.
your screen will be swapped off. So if you can switch back to the click meeting session, then you will see the questions popping up. So it's quite interesting. There is a longer one from Philip. That's in regards JH001. Um, I think we should take that on offline if it's okay. It's quite longer discussion. It's not because I don't want to answer it. It's just it would take a lot longer time. But yeah, we will. I spotted it, and I will write you an email so we can hang on to it. And the other question is this one. Oh, what? Oh, I misclicked it. 1 second. Let me try to bring it down. But it was about the that if they press JC001,
Yes.
yes, and how can I put it there? Yeah. So if the JC001 gets heat pressed, even with 140 degrees, it will the color will change. Do you have any reply on it, or do you have any topic around it?
So this is sort of the range that we would expect these garments to be heat pressed. It's not something that we hear a lot of, really. It's probably something that would have to be looked at on a case by case basis. A lot of things can impact colours to slightly vary, where it isn't always just the temperature of the press or even the garment itself. It could be how it's stored after it's pressed, or it could be a number of different factors that impact it. At 140 degrees, we wouldn't really expect there to be any colour change, but I think our email address is possibly going to be sent out. If you want to send us over an email with some pictures, I can sit down with the product team. We can have a proper look at it and maybe get a bit more context around the garment itself, when it's being printed, what colour it is, and then we can really look into it. All our garments are produced with a batch code, so that even if you are out in Hungary or Germany, we can pull from a batch here and have a look to see, we'll put it through some extensive testing and see if we end up with the same results, or if we find that there might be something specific that leads to that.
And the next question is it true for all polyester garments or only for the recycled polyester? I think this was the question when you were saying about the printings. So is the printing for the regular polyester is the same as for the recycled polyester?
Yeah, absolutely. You would expect the same results. However, I am seeing the loss of stretch. Now, specifically at that time, I believe I was speaking about the JC232. Now, that has an elastane content. And it's that elastane content that gives it the stretch, not the polyester. So I would say that's more based on the print that you're using, not the material. We've had, for example, this JC 001, we've had it printed before with some stretch vinyl, and had people really try to misshape it by stretching it as much as they could. But after you let go of it, it generally moves back to its original look. The polyester is such a robust material that stretch is something that you can be quite confident with.
And before I tell the good news to everyone, I would like to ask if how did you like the new products? If you could put it in the chat, how did you like the new styles, or is there any style that you would need and JC doesn't offer yet? So if you have basically any questions in regards of the webinar topic, that would be great if you just type it down and then we can answer it. And meanwhile you are doing it, I would like to say that whoever attended this webinar, first of all, very thank you. And second of all, you will be able to basically claim a gift from us. And thank you for JC for organizing the whole thing. And Bente is gonna type it in the chat right now how you can get your own sample. Basically, if you click on the forms, then you can just choose whichever you want, and we will ship it directly to you. So there is nothing you have to do. Just click on it and then claim whatever you would like to receive from it. You will also receive an email, so don't worry if you don't want to click it at this point. I believe we got a question, a longer one, so I'm going to pin it out, and then you can answer it.
Absolutely. I'm just catching up with it. So I think we're looking at stock for this. So sometimes we face the unfortunate popularity of some garments. It is something that we can try to predict as much as possible, but you don't want to, in a market where, you know, we're talking about maybe not sustainability, but trying not to overproduce. It is something that can be quite difficult to get the right level of both people having enough stock and at the same time not having too much. So generally when we produce something, it takes a little while to level out, you know. The production time for some of our garments at some times of the year can go right up to around 8 months, just with different cultural holidays and stuff like that coming up. So generally, if there's anything that you're really struggling for stock on, get in touch with us or get in touch with your distributor to see if they can offer any sort of advice or potentially an alternative. I can see that we're talking here about the JT009 in deep black. For example, we have the EA006, which is an oversized tee, also available in black, which is generally quite well stocked. It's looking at making sure that you have options if ever there is a stock out. It is something that we try to avoid as much as possible, understandably, but sometimes things can crop up that you just don't expect. You know, it might even be that somebody has been used to using one garment for a very, very long time, and maybe another brand discontinues it, and suddenly we go from what stock we would say normally will be absolutely fine for 6 months. It can come along and be wiped by something that we just didn't foresee. So stock's a bit of a tricky one. Generally, we tend to be quite good, but if there is something that you're really, really struggling with, please make us aware. Or if ever you're going to be placing a very, very large order, or you work with a group that you order for at the same time every year, give us some notice and let us know. And the people in the stock team are very, very good. They'll make sure that the stock's going to be there for you when you need it, as long as you give us enough notice.
All right, amazing. And I would really like to thank you, Kyle, for giving us your time, and to everyone that you have listened. And if you have any questions, which is off topic maybe, you can always let us know, contact directly your salesperson, and we will manage the connection. No issue at all. And we have a good news also that on the 19th of September, we will have another presentation from AWDis. So we're gonna have a little summer break, and then we will come back basically with a brand new webinar. And this will be uploaded on YouTube in a few weeks, so you can also check it back if you missed out anything. So is there anything else, Kyle?
No, I was just going to say, if anybody does have any questions that they would like to send to me directly, our email address is just info@awdisbrands.com. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. There might even have been something that you come up with here that I didn't have a great answer for at the time. Once I'm back in the office, I sit alongside the stock team and the product team, marketing, so I can ask any question that you'd like to know the answer to.
Amazing. All right.
Perfect.
Was a pleasure to see you. Oh,
Yeah,
there's another
thank you for
question.
having
Should
me.
we just answer it quickly?
Oh, sure.
Yes. Yes, the whole presentation will be sent out. We were planning to upload it, but the file was too big, so we are going to send it out by email. So everyone will have the presentation that Kai was presenting. So there's not gonna be, the PowerPoint will be sent out very soon. All right, good. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day to everyone.
Perfect. Thanks,
Goodbye.
guys.